Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here. We have heard every insult thrown towards the DCEU, haven't we, fellow DCEU fans? Superman only says a certain amount of words in Man of Steel. He doesn't say very much in Batman v Superman. There's no conversations in Batman v Superman. We've heard every contrived, fake, bullshit put down for this franchise. We've put up with a lot. There's no question about that. And it will go on and on and on. You can go into YouTube and see a billion videos. Why the DCEU failed. And then you get these trilogy videos. The archetype of the DCEU and why it bombed and why people hate the DCEU. Why people hate Zack Snyder. Goes on and on and on and on and on. But back in the real world, the DCEU is one of the most successful franchises in movie history. It's the truth. That is the truth. You go and work it out. I can't be bothered. But you will see the kind of money the films have made. Man of Steel, around 600 million, wasn't it? Batman v Superman, over 850 million, wasn't it? Suicide Squad around 800 million, Wonder Woman 820 million, Justice League, which was a disappointing bring back, but it's still bought, what is it, 650? Not a bad figure for a film that, well, it was a mess, wasn't it? So that wasn't great, and we can't bury that under the carpet, but we know what happened there. So now Aquaman, which will finish with over $1 billion globally. If you add all that up, it's pretty impressive. No, I'm not adding that up. I'm stupid. But so they keep on here calling this franchise a failure. So why do they keep on saying that the DCU have failed? Well, what they do is they compare it to the MCU and they say we failed because we haven't made all the money that the MCU have made in 20 films, in 6 films. That's their logic. That's their logic. We have had 6 films now. And each one of those 6 films, apart from Justice League, you can't compare that with the Avengers film. Of course you can't. That was successful. But if you go like for like and you compare all of the early films, the first, let's go with the first 5 or 6 kind of MCU films, right? Let's go first 5 MCU films, first 5. So let's just say, let's use all the standalone. So if you go Man of Steel, if you go Wonder Woman, Aquaman, right? So you look at those 3, and then you look at Iron Man, Thor, Captain America. So if you compare those, actually the DCEU films are quite more favourably. But the thing is with the MCU movies, from Avengers onwards, they've had the critics on their side and they've had consumer confidence. And what the DCEU movies have done mostly is had a mixed response, and this is why they call it a failure. So it's easy to look. They don't talk about their beloved Marvel that much on YouTube. They talk about the DCEU because the DCEU has more kind of interest towards it. You do a test, right? If you're a YouTuber, right, you do a test. You do an MCU video, then you do a DCEU video, and you see how many more views you get. I'm proud to be a DCEU fan. I'm not one of these people who has to convince you to like what I like. I love Man of Steel. I love Batman v Superman. I love Wonder Woman. I love all the films, right? Yeah, even Justice League has its charm in places, right? I love it. I've watched it again and again. I'm happy for Aquaman. Now, some of the questions are being asked. Why is Aquaman about to make $1 billion? Why didn't Man of Steel? Why didn't Batman v Superman? Listen, I don't know, but let's not pretend for 1 minute here that Aquaman is better than Man of Steel or Batman v Superman. It's a really, really good standalone superhero movie, and I adore it. It's a great achievement, right? What has happened with Aquaman is certain things have come to fruition. They can see that the studio are getting their shit together, and there's consumer confidence back in the franchise. That's what it is. People are confident about it because they can see the studio understand what the mainstream audience, and the mainstream audience will always be more important than us. It will, because at the end of the day, Warner Brothers are a business. So this is what's happened with Aquaman, but it doesn't make Aquaman a better film than the other film. You see, don't misunderstand good box office for a good film, right? There's a big difference. Yes, Aquaman is a good film, but it's not the best film of all time just because it's made $1 billion, right? There's lots of little gems out there from film history who didn't make anywhere near what Aquaman's made. It doesn't make Aquaman a better film, but as I say, I do like Aquaman. Don't misunderstand me. This isn't a put down on Aquaman, but let's not get our shit confused here. So we've had a lot of hate to contend with. It's still out there. They're now trying to accuse the Aquaman box office of being corrupt. Does that mean all the MCU box office is corrupt? No, there's no corruption within the box office. Lots of people want to see Aquaman. And look, if we examine the reasons, one of the major reasons is that women have been going with their boyfriends and husbands. Why? Because they want Momoa to beef them, right? They want sex with Jason Momoa. And because we're not used to the film stars anymore. It's all about the superhero is the film star now. But Jason Momoa is similar to Sylvester Stallone, Arnold Schwarzenegger, those kind of actors who drove people to projects rather than the other way round. And I think that Warner Brothers will be casting a lot more film stars. Now, the problem is there's not many film stars out there, so they're going to have to go looking for them. They've already been clever enough to sign The Rock up for Black Adam. So he's going to bring people. He puts butts in seats. That's very exciting. And you're going to see a lot more of this. Don't be surprised to see people like Mel Gibson, Tom Cruise, the last of the film stars, if you like, involved in prominent roles within the DCEU. Because now Warner Brothers know that that works. So that is one of the reasons that actually Aquaman was successful, because of Momoa. People love James Wan. He's a very popular director. So all those Fast and the Furious fans, all those Conjuring fans would have gone to see Aquaman. That is, we have to look at it in that sense now. So can this be a knock-on effect, though, for Shazam? Shazam is a very, very different film and a different proposition. Not many people know who Shazam is. Zachary Levi has been predominantly a television actor, only recently going into films. So that's a difficult sell. Not for me, not for people who watch Chuck. Zach is a brilliant actor. But I'm just saying to you where the problems may lie. I think this is going to be an excellent film. I know it's going to be an excellent film because I've seen it. But the problem is I've seen it, but I've seen the test screening. So I don't actually know what the finished article can be. And let me tell you something. The finished article can be very different to what you see in test screenings. That's why I go to test screenings, just to get a gauge so I can come back and tell you guys about it. But the truth of the matter is they can be very, very different, considerably different. Sometimes they're not. It just depends how happy the studio and kind of the creatives, how happy they are with the actual product they put out in test screenings. So with Shazam, it's an unknown quantity. Like Aquaman was before it came out. We were concerned. We didn't know what was going to dominate in the cinema. Mary Poppins Returns, Bumblebee, anything could have happened. But ultimately, there was a lot of things that happened before. The positivity of bringing Walter Hamada in. And also they got, I mean, and I think it was Warner Brothers behind it, they got Momoa to come out and, he was purposely asked about the Snyder Cut. And he said, I'm obsessed with it too. So, not that I don't think he's being genuine. I know that he wants to see that movie. Everyone wants to see the movie. He worked on it. But the point is, I think us DCEU fans were very disenfranchised after Justice League. And they needed to get us, the passionate fans, back on board. By Momoa saying that was key. Now, even after the disappointment of Justice League, I was always still going to support this franchise. I can't turn away from Aquaman, Superman, Batman. Are you kidding me? Birds of Prey, the Joker movie, Jared Leto's upcoming Joker movie. I'm excited about all this. We've even got Steven Spielberg himself doing a DCEU film. It's very, very, very exciting. How can we deal with this hatred for the DCEU? I think we have to start ignoring it, because I think some of us are really acting in a way that is ungentlemanly, unladylike. We just need to respect people's opinions, no matter how cruel and unkind they are. And I'm guilty of it as well. I can go for people who, because nobody wants their balls squeezed, do they? It hurts. It makes you squeal. And that's the thing. So if someone does says something about something you love, your immediate reaction is to say, just go for it. But ultimately, it's a waste of oxygen. The truth of the matter is now, listening to haters like Collider, you see how empty their words are and hollow, and they're liars. And they've just got to, you know what? My mum always said, whoever's more smarter ignores the other person. And I think this is where we are now. I want DCEU fans just to focus on the franchise. I really do. I want us to be a positive fan base, backing the products, calling them out if they're not doing a good enough job, of course. But I think we've got such a good kind of few years ahead with this franchise. We should be positive instead of negative. If people want to hate on us, make videos about us saying we're terrible fans, let them. We know the truth. We have propped up the DCEU. We've fought for it. We have been, Luke Skywalker against Palpatine, haven't we? Because there are a lot of horrible, evil people who want to bring this franchise down. They've had rumours about reboots, relaunches, everything. Rumours about the actors leaving. We know that. We know there's been so much negativity, but now they are pooing themselves knowing that Aquaman, a DCEU movie, is about to make $1 billion. So they've got excuses like, oh, it was Christmas. Oh, it's because everyone wants to watch Momoa. I mean, I've even said some of that myself. But as I say, they're different reasons. The reasons don't matter. It's made $1 billion. They can never take that away from this film. But the point is, they'll have lots of excuses. They blame, a lot of so-called experts blame Justice League's failure on Batman v Superman. Well, how can you back that up? Because ultimately, after Batman v Superman, there was Suicide Squad. The critical reaction was crap, but the box office was fantastic. Wonder Woman came after that at the box office 820 million. So how can you say that if Batman v Superman was the reason for Justice League, why didn't Suicide Squad and Wonder Woman fail? Because that wasn't the reason. That wasn't the reason. It didn't make $1 billion or a couple of billion. Look, a film with Batman and Superman in it, let's be honest, has to make a couple of billion. It should be breaking records. This film wasn't for the mainstream audience. It was for some of us who loved it, who made the film money, who bought the Blu-rays, bought both versions, and all of that. But it wasn't for the mainstream audience, and this is why that film didn't make the money that a Batman and Superman film should. That doesn't make it a bad film. It just makes it a film that wasn't for everyone. And as much as I love Batman v Superman, a Batman v Superman film should be for everyone. So, and I think this is the problem. Now, the reason Justice League didn't make the money is because people didn't go back and rewatch it. That's why Justice League didn't make the money. Now, the opening was pretty low. Well, I will tell you what the issues were with the openings. It was the test screenings. The test screenings didn't go down as well as we thought. The trailers were no issue because the trailers were brilliant. They even had stuff from the Snyder Cut in them. So the trailers sold me. I thought we were going to get one of the best CBMs, one of the best movies that we ever saw. But we didn't. And I think there's many reasons why that film didn't make the money it should have. But I think people knew it wasn't going to be what we wanted. Obviously, this is what happens. So to blame Batman v Superman for the failure of Justice League, I think, is just an easy excuse. That wasn't the reason. The reason for the failure of Justice League, it had two directors. People saw through that and just weren't interested in that film, unfortunately. The mainstream audience didn't come to see that film. The fans did. We did. And I tell you who else came in, actually. Mums, dads and kids really enjoyed that film as well. So it wasn't a total failure, but obviously it wasn't the film we should have had. The issue with Cavill's upper lip, disgraceful. I can go on and on and on. But it's done and it's dusted. We are now in a positive situation. And I'm really excited for the future. I think we've got a lot to look forward to. I think we've all got to just look forward now, not look back. Enjoy the films that have been put out. It's a fabulous franchise as far as I'm concerned. Some great achievements. Man of Steel is a beautiful film. Batman v Superman is an epic movie. Suicide Squad is a really good watch. I'm not sure if Suicide Squad should have come after Batman v Superman. Maybe it was a bit too early in the DCEU for that, but that doesn't matter. It's still a really good film with some really good performances. And Wonder Woman, I think, you know, it's despicable that Wonder Woman wasn't even nominated for an Oscar and Black Panther has been, because I can tell you something, Wonder Woman is a much better film. But at the end of the day, it's a great movie. It made a lot of money. It was a success. And we know the truth. We know why Black Panther's being nominated for all these awards. And I don't have to say it, because I want to keep on talking to you on this channel, and I don't want to be blocked from putting videos out for 3 or 4 months. That's not fair on you, and that's not fair on me. We know the truth. And the truth of it is the DCEU is a fantastic, fantastic franchise that we can be proud of. But there was a misstep with Justice League. They've made up for it. They've brought in the right people. We've got a really successful film in Aquaman. And I think the future is bright for the DCEU.